All right, thank you for joining us and welcome to the booth. I am so excited to be with you. My name is Kharisma Freeman, and it is a pleasure to introduce these wonderful ladies I have sitting with me. To my left, I have Miss Kara Cherie.
Hi.
And to my right, I have Miss Erin J. And we are going to be opening up this, podcast with a discussion about. We're going to be opening up this podcast to discuss some things that are, relevant to the time that we're in. You know, we got a lot of different things that we can definitely talk about. And I know for a fact, because we have sat down to dinner and conversated and, learned some things, expressed some things, shared some things. And there's a commonality that we must address.
Come on.
So today, I would like for us to kind of delve into the pressure to date.
In the Christian church.
I'm talking about period.
Okay.
We can talk about the Christian church.
Women of a
Okay,
certain
let's do it.
age.
Honey.
Women of God. Oh, man.
Women of a certain age. Mm-hmm.
Of a certain age, of course, because why? We get into that biological clock that's now ticking, and have babies
Geriatric
before.
doctors.
Geriatric pregnancies.
Come
Do you know
on
they
now.
say that to women our age? This is a geriatric pregnancy.
The devil's a liar.
I feel like they need new terminology
didn't know
for that.
about
That's a
Sarah.
little disrespectful.
Listen, let me tell you this. I know that there are a bunch of things that people are saying, but for those of us who are in this, in the crosshairs of trying to figure this all out, I think it goes to a deeper level because it can be borderline offensive and incorrigible. I don't know. I think that was a good word to use for that one. Aaron's like, I'll take it. If you want to say it, it's
good.
It's perfectly fine. So let's talk about it. I know for me firsthand, man, it is to be a single Black woman.
Successful.
Okay,
Okay, don't forget that part.
Educated.
All right, you know what? Y'all just gonna add to the list of things. that I need to-
Anointed.
Oh.
Sorry.
No.
So we got a lot of things. Yes, we could add to the list of the laundry list here, but I mean, it is a difficult time, right, to be in, right? In the age of technology, in a time where just about anything goes, in a time where interpersonal communication is limited, few and far in between. It is it's a trying time, to be single in my own skin. But I don't want to just take the whole conversation and, just talk about it on my own. But I just want to kind of pull a consensus because there are a bunch of kids, there are a bunch of millennials who have some questions about how to navigate this. And of course, there are conversations that we aren't having because people are uncomfortable discussing certain things. So let's roll into it because we got to do it. We got to do it. Let's dig real quick. Let's dig. So we're talking about the pressure of dating church and secular world. All of the above.
The pressure of dating.
Sometimes it comes too quickly, especially when you don't know who you fully are, right? And I think when you're dating, you should have a goal, whether it's a lifelong partner to have fun, whatever. Define dating is key. But how about taking enough time to know who you are? What about for those of us, let's say, for instance, even if you don't go to college or grad school or trade school, or if you don't decide to become a self-learner and travel the world, you need to take time to figure out who you are, because ultimately once you figure out who you are, you'll know who's compatible, with you. So it's like sometimes the pressure can prevent us from finding out who we are because we don't want to be that lonely person. And then listen, I'm proud of my age. I'm 36, right? I'm like, and the young ones be like, you 36? Like, that's old. Like, I
Yep,
need that
sure,
geriatric
yep.
doctor, it's an honor, fine. But, honestly, I'm happy that I think the generations after us, they're pushing back and saying, I'm going to do this in accordance with my own time.
Right.
And I wish I had more courage to say that earlier.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the generations under us are revolting against applied pressure.
They sure do.
I love that word.
Yeah,
Revolting.
in general, it's just like you will not apply the pressures of your generations, the pressures of your religion, the pressures of your anything on the generation that's coming up after us. They are not interested and they're not trying to hear it. I think it's us that still sort of hang in the balance because we are the ones who are in the middle of the tech world coming to be our real world, right? But we were raised under the people who said, go to school,
Right.
get a
Right.
good job, go to
Right.
college, get a good job. That's the only way. And then, we lived in a time where people got rich for doing nothing.
Right. That's true.
Right? Absolutely nothing. And we're
true.
like, wait a minute, huh? And people who went to school, going to college in our generation didn't mean you were necessarily going to make money.
Come on.
We are part of that generation where going to college wasn't enough. And a lot of us went to school and was like, well, we did it the way mom and dad said. And somehow the numbers aren't numbing.
Yeah.
The math is not mathing. It's not adding up, right? Oh, I went to
Right.
college to find my college sweetheart, but somehow he just wasn't there. And now what should I do? We had parents who either were not married at all
Right.
and taught us to prepare to be single.
Right.
And then we have some of us who came from a home where we had parents who were married and they taught us that, like, that's what you're looking for in dating.
Right.
Right? So whatever it was, we lived under the pressure that was applied by the generation ahead of us. And I'm grateful to see the generation behind us saying, no, we don't live under anyone else's standards. They are full-blown protesting against other people's pressures and the way other people think it should happen. But it leaves us in an awkward position. Very much so, because a lot of the things we grew up to believe and we grew up and we're taught, we found weren't true. Right. We found, we can freeze eggs. They couldn't.
That is true. That's a
Right?
very good point.
Life is shifted hard with our generation. A lot of the way things were done was changed, and we're out here and we're looking for, the kind of men that existed in the maybe 60s or 70s.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know if it works the same way. Maybe the same heart is there, but I don't think they're getting to it at 24 or 25 the way our grandmas experienced getting married. Maybe at 22 they got married and was like, yeah, I'm going to do life with you and we're going to have all these children. For us,
Right.
I don't find that my generation is quite ready to settle down in the same time frame that I was.
Why do you think that is though?
Because it takes a longer time for men to establish themselves
No.
in general, right? Like men want, if you have the right heart, right, you want to be able to protect and to provide, right? And it takes men longer to establish what it takes to cover a household, right? So if you have a man who's sort of set up like that with the old school principles, until they find themselves established in their career, they don't really want to take that on. I know a lot of wonderful men who are now in my same age bracket, and and that would be like 38 to 40, right? And they're just now feeling like they possibly could take on a wife.
Okay.
Right? But they're not looking at us to be their wives. They're looking at women who are childbearing ages. Right? So even like my peers are not exactly looking toward me to say, no, because they're counting our years too.
Got you.
The gag is the men are counting our years
you.
and keeping a tab on our clocks as well. And so you find that established men in their early 40s or late 30s are looking towards 22-year-old, 23, 27 maybe, year old women, because they have time on their clock. The men have time on their clock.
Right.
They try to find someone who has
Some
a
time.
some
same
time
amount of time.
to grow.
Okay. So let me ask you a question because, I know there's a conversation around, among our age group where there is this notion that, we need or we should have six-figure men. We should have certain caliber of a man and we kind of X everybody out. Not all of us, but
Some people.
there's a group of people who kind of X out, what we would consider to be a good man because they don't meet the financial qualifications. They don't meet that checkbox. Like,
Sure.
I want you to be able to take me from where I'm at, put me in a house, do all of these different things. But, that's coming from a push now where it's like, okay, if you are going to get married or if you are dating or if you are going to do something, then make sure that they have X, Y, and Z. You get what I'm saying? So, I mean, in addition to having like, this mentality, oh, you got to have a baby by this time or you got to do this by this time. You also have the pressure of, well, if you are going to do it, then they have to look or be this way.
I find that to be interesting. I know a lot of people talk about that. What I find is that from my personal experience,
Right.
And I want to be clear to say, like, outside of the church, right?
Okay.
Because I am a woman of God, but I've never necessarily dated someone inside of the church, right? So that's not my experience. But what I do find, which I find unfortunate and sort of annoying, is that the gentlemen that I would be interested in, right? That I think I like this person. Unfortunately, they look at me, right, which I don't necessarily consider myself a high earner, but I'm interested to see what you say about this, Kara, because the men look at me and assume I'm a high earner and assume I am high maintenance. Now, I won't say I'm a low earner, but I'm an average. I feel to me that it's average where I am at this point, right? There's room to grow, though, and I have expectations to grow, but they feel like they cannot approach me or that they like me, right? They'll get to know me. Oh my God, you're so great. You're amazing. You're too good for me, though.
Let's talk
I've
about
found that more often than not. More often than me saying you don't make enough money for me to entertain you is men telling me, actually, you're such a great woman, but I'm not good enough for you, or I would ruin your life.
I just have to put a pin here because this is a recent experience with something like that. It's like, oh yeah, you're great, you do this. I mean, can list your qualities.
Sure. And accurately. Yeah.
List your qualities. And then it's like, oh, but I can't do that to you. Or, oh, I can't date you. Or, oh, I would ruin your life. Like something like what you said.
Yeah. Or you deserve better.
Or yeah. So,
which is interesting because their concept of what better is, I feel, is vastly different from our concept.
But is it that though, or is that like a manipulative tactic? Because you have some men who will be like, oh, you deserve better, but if you would have allowed them to, engage in activities, sextivities, if you if you would have allowed them to kind of have that intimate moment. I'm trying to be very delicate, tread lightly.
If you had loosened up on your boundaries,
right. That's a good way. That's a good way to say it. But if you had have done it, they would have willingly walked into that door. You get what I'm saying? So are you saying, I'm a good person because you genuinely believe it? Or are you saying it to see if I'll let my guard down and let you in because you know that I'm a good person?
Well, I think discernment is important, right?
I mean, yeah, of course.
Because as a woman, whether that is what that is. And let me be clear, right? Even men who have... Because, see, there are men, and I think it's hard to accept, oh, I'm celibate, right? I think it's hard to believe, right? In
Especially
general,
in this day and age.
it's hard to believe, and I think people just think that means you have a 90-day rule,
Right.
and so they stick around for the 90 days and go, okay, now what? And you're like, no, I told you 90 days ago. And when I said it, that's what I meant.
Right.
And if you want to spend time or you want to hang out or whatever, that's cool. But these are my boundaries or whatever.
Right.
And people stick around for a while to see where that will, like, if that loosens up over time. I think a lot of people's mistake is, well, I'll speak for myself, is I've had a lot of people come into my life and realize, no, this is the real thing.
Right. Right.
But they've already fallen in love, and now they don't know what to do with that. Because to accept us, right, means they almost have to accept marriage.
Right. Right.
Right? You have to date us, right? People who choose to be celibate, people who say, I'm waiting until marriage. In order to actually date us seriously, you have to be like, at the point where you say, I'm willing to marry her. I think she's my future.
Right. Right.
And that's a big step.
Right. So, okay. Because, I mean, for me, and this is something that I'm learning to process through, right? Like, your words are valuable, right? But your actions really show me, like where everything really is. So, like, when we talk about like the pressure to date, right? I think for women, because that's all I can speak for, because I'm not a man, and hopefully we'll have a man up here at some point, to kind of toss some things around. I think it might get a little heated because we differ so greatly, but I think that it is I don't know, it's a double-edged sword, because it's like, for anybody that really wants to be in a relationship, that wants to get married, right? It's almost like, to a certain degree, right now, you have to settle for certain things in order to kind of get to, that
The part
promise.
where people will consider
like
marriage.
yeah, it's like, even, just going back to the example we just used a few minutes ago, right? I'll mess up your life, or, I'm no good for you, you're a good girl. I mean, thank you for telling me that, but
Although you don't know me.
exactly.
I like to put this out here for just in the general public. You don't know me.
Right.
You don't know what kind of girl I am. You don't know what kind of desires I have. You don't know what I would do if I were in that situation, if I were a wife. You don't know me as a wife. And unless you ask, you cannot tell that from observing.
Right.
Because it's not something that you will necessarily see, because I have no reason to show you that part of me. And so don't get it twisted. There is more to the preacher girl, to the prophet woman, to the pastor, then do not assume know us soul to heart and soul. And so you don't know me.
Right.
But you know what? I've also had men say that, and like, oh well, you deserve better. And I'm like, thank you.
I do.
Thank you for not wasting my time.
Absolutely.
Thank you for being transparent.
I'm
Thank you
play
for
devil's
letting me
advocate,
know
because I'm sorry, Kara.
Yeah.
I mean, I appreciate, as much as I appreciate the compliment, right? I get that.
Sure, it's harmful. It hurts.
It's almost distasteful to me.
Why?
Because it's like, first of all, anybody that can say to you, "Hey, you're a good woman," right?
And tell you all the reasons
and
why.
tell you all the reasons why you're a good woman, and then look at you and say, "You know what? I don't want to date you because you're too good for me." What kind of world do we live in?
You're talking to a person who's probably still hurt.
Or self-aware.
Or listen, but people.
See, you guys are so positive. I'm just gonna rock with this.
But hold on
I
for a
just think
second.
it's a bunch of crap.
It's not,
Why?
though. Because honestly, at any given point, a man saying to you he's not good enough for you, whether we deem them good enough, if they deal with not feeling good enough, at some point that's going to come out in the relationship, and it's going to cause damage.
Right.
And it's unnecessary damage to us. And that's a hard pill to swallow.
Right.
Because you look at someone and you go, I like you, and the things I want in a partner, I see in you, and da-da-da-da-da. But if you don't see yourself as a quality partner to me, if you don't see yourself as being able to provide, protect, priest, right? then
just
I can't
get
make
past
you
the
feel that.
feeling that it's like it's almost
Manipulation?
like like it's
Sometimes
like,
it is.
it's like dating bait. Like
I don't know about that. When as you guys meet men, do y'all ever say, "Lord, hide me from the wrong ones"?
of course,
I don't
I
even
mean-
meet them because I prayed that prayer so
Hey,
much.
but I'm saying, but it's almost
So I
in a
haven't
sense like,
met a man in maybe 5 years because I prayed that prayer. So y'all be careful what you pray.
Oh God.
but you want the right one to come. You
I
want the
agree.
right
I'm
one.
not
There
in a
you
rush
go.
at all.
And that's the answer when somebody asks those questions. So this is what I do when people start asking, "Why are you not married?"
Because he ain't here yet.
God has delivered me. I like that. That's a good one because I get petty and I be like, "Oh, why you ain't start that business yet?
Ooh.
Why you ain't moved yet?" I know, boy. Help me. No, but almost in a sense, you said something, Aaron. Probably like 5-10 minutes ago, you said this. Right? Some of us grew up in a household where our parents were married. And it was almost in a sense like, if you're not married, what's wrong with you?
Yes.
Everybody now, they don't try that foolishness now. Everybody would ask, well, what's wrong with you? So are you mean? What's
Wait,
wrong
no.
with you?
Are you? Oh, I'm sorry. I probably shouldn't say that, but
Say it.
Are you a lesbian?
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
you're not with anybody, so you must be gay. I mean,
Right. No, what if I'm just holy? What if I'm just patient? What if I'm just healing?
Ha! Come on.
Let me just say this because this is coming
I
from
could be none of those things, but like, what if I was all of that?
But see, I mean, and I hate to like bear all like that, but this is like a very, very sensitive topic for me because I've been on all of the sides of this particular spectrum.
Sure.
Because I'm 36 too. Me and Kara,
we
we went to school together. So
Okay.
we kind of like, we're growing up, we learning, figuring some things out.
Sure.
But it's like when I look at all of the different variations of obstacles and different things that we are facing in our singleness, right? In our striving to live a pleasing life to God, keeping certain vows to protect certain things, to prevent certain things
Sure.
from overtaking us. I think that people really don't consider that, you got social media, you got DMs, all kinds of stuff. The dating scene in and of itself has drastically changed, right?
Absolutely.
We are not looking at a scope where we're walking outside or we're going to the local park and we're meeting somebody and we striking up conversation and it's just like love at first sight. It does not come like that anymore. It's just
not all the time.
I shouldn't say it like that.
Well,
You're right.
when
Not
was the
all
last time we went to the park? Guys, let's have a park date.
I did go last week.
Maybe it's
going
gonna
to
happen.
We went running and
What
we did
town?
some squats and stuff. So.
I mean, but
In London.
I don't know. I'm not gonna say too much more about this, but I just genuinely feel like there is a huge misconception because if I go to a family gathering and they say, "Hey, well, where the babies? When you gonna have some babies?"
Oh,
You just
gosh.
got to give them that look so they won't try you,
You
like
really
that.
have to correct people.
No.
No. You really have to correct people because let me say this to y'all out there in the world.
I'm dead.
This is the most disrespectful thing you can ask a woman of any age.
Mm-hmm.
When are you going to have babies? First of all, what if I don't want babies?
Right.
Or can't have them.
What if I can't have babies? What if I've tried and it hasn't worked out? What if you're poking the bear with this question? Mind your business and find some emotional intelligence. There is no reason why you should ask a woman of any age why or when she is having children. Having children is between a woman and God. Now, y'all leave God's business alone.
I know that's right.
What'd you say? End of discussion. Mic drop.
Yeah,
We're out of here. No, but it's true. I think
And you have to check people. You really have to show them this is the boundary. This right here.
I'm in agreement with checking people, but I also think it's a good conversation point because don't get me wrong, people say things, they ask questions. I don't think that is with ill intention. Like for the most part, I think it's just like some people see it as, I've experienced this, I want you to have it too, but they don't know how to articulate that.
Right.
So it comes off a little offensive because it's like, well, why don't you have, or why didn't,
No,
what's
ask
going
me
on?
if this is something I want. If you want to strike up a conversation about that,
I think
about
everybody
marriage,
thinks that
about children,
that's what everybody wants.
but it's not though.
No, I agree with that.
It's not, because I don't want to
agree with
run
that.
after children for free.
You're so silly. I can't.
Aaron, wait,
No. Don't try to cut me off now that what I'm saying is not what is common.
my
What I'm saying
God.
is,
I don't even know why I got you started.
yeah, I don't know either.
don't know why I got you
I
started.
will tell everyone, every woman you run into does not want children of her own. I do not want to push. I don't. I have no desire to do that.
Aaron,
What?
you giving it real sauce today.
I'm just saying, right? No, you brought it up, and it is sensitive.
It's true.
It's a sensitive topic for a lot of people, and I feel some type of way that people will walk up on you and have the gall, the actual audacity to be like, "So, girl, when is you going to get out of my business?"
That was nicely put.
You know what, Kara?
When are you gonna
don't
do
gas her.
that?
Please don't gas her up.
No, because almost in a sense, I feel like sometimes marital status and your whether or not you have children is tied to your femininity. And it's like,
Exactly.
oh, am I less than a woman? Can I tell you something? Now that I'm at a certain age, probably 5-10 years ago, this started happening where I started to get excluded from events. From gatherings because I'm not
you're
married,
not married,
or because I
yes.
wasn't in a long-term relationships, and
That
not trying to
started
be
happening to me
funny.
so early.
Those same people that did it, I'm not saying this to be with an ill heart, but those same people have lost their relationship. Those relationships no longer exist. So now they're like, oh, well, Kara, I want to do this.
No, you don't.
I want to hang out with you. First of all, I'm unmarried.
Right.
I'm not single.
Right.
But even if I were not, I don't,
like that.
I'm
unmarried, but I'm not single.
But I mean, people desire that so much that they'll do anything for it, right? Hanging around certain friends, like, I love someone very dearly to me. They said to me, I don't want you to be the
maid.
godmother of my child because you're not married. I said, do you
Wow.
know what the purpose of a godparent is?
Wow.
I said, no problem.
Wow.
I mean, so
Super
like literally.
ignorant.
So again, when you think
Very
about, I feel like geez,
disrespectful.
all my life experience, I have been around some crummy people, but I love them nevertheless. But
Can we just put a
they're gonna be like, is she talking about me?
that.
No, I love y'all, but
No.
but when you
I
really,
love you, but you wrong. And that's insensitive. So don't make that mistake again.
But again, it's like almost having that power to kind of push back and say, like, you know what? I'm single, but I still matter. Like
Hello?
I'm single, but like not trying to be funny. I'm happy that I have waited because I feel like every relationship that I got up to this point kind of grew for me to see a better example of a man. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, right.
And had I married someone 15 years ago, I would have had a husband, but would he been my bone of bone, flesh of flesh?
Yeah.
Now it's like you can see ultimate. Like I don't even know. Like there's dating when you have somebody who is aligned with the Word of God, but then also really wants to get to know who you are. It's a different type of thing. And let's do this. Let's flip the script for a second. Let's talk about what it's like to date when you're 36 and the man you're dating has it together. Like there's some dating experiences. Like I remember, probably shouldn't be telling my business. Let me see. I heard of a story where a man was like, oh, they lived in New Jersey. And the man was like, let's fly to Miami for dinner. Like, we're not talking about that. There are different type of dating experiences. Like, literally, your man could just be like, babe, let's come home. And next thing you know, he has a hairstylist and a makeup artist there.
I mean,
Like,
like, see, that's a completely different level. And I think I 100% agree with you that, at this juncture, people aren't aware that certain things exist. And we've kind of like overly hyped the idea of one type of man.
Come on.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like one type of relationship, one type of love interest, one type of family. We used to hear the story. I don't know if you guys did, but when I was younger, they used to always say, I want to be married with the house and the white picket fence.
Yeah, I don't want to pick
But I don't want a picket fence.
That's
you,
true.
You get what you heard that too, right?
I want a tree.
I want a
though.
doorman.
I'm saying. So I mean, it's
Yes.
it's just like you said something that really stuck with me when we went out to dinner before this podcast.
I know what you're gonna say.
What am I gonna say, Kara?
Jealous part.
Yes.
Oh,
Honey. Okay, so let me just hone in on this,
Okay.
right?
I'm
So
excited.
we were sitting at dinner. So I got to paint this story for you because it was just so beautiful how Erin brought this out. She was like, when you think about a man and his concepts and how he thinks and what he does, he is supposed to be like God. Right. And God is jealous for his children. Like he's all about us. So when you get a mate, they are supposed to emulate some of those same traits. He's supposed to be jealous for you. So that means sometimes, what we would consider like, no, not going out, not doing certain things. And they like, listen, I need you to be home. They pouting,
Right,
trying to
because
get you
you're
to
not
stay
home.
because you're
Yes.
not home. But that's who they are supposed, that's how they were created. At Aaron. That stuck with me because I thought about that because we are now in a society, right, where, women's empowerment is a big thing. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? It's nothing wrong. Strong women.
I believe in being empowered, but I also believe in a soft life.
Honey, but let me tell you this, and I'm telling you this from experience. I'm setting up for this, even for the podcast. I went to the store and I was trying to get this table that we're using right now in the car. Do you know 12 men walked by me struggling to lift this box? It wasn't until I lifted the box, got the box in the cart, got to my car, and I could not get that box out of the cart to put it in the car. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, Lord, I got it in here.
Does
I
chivalry
did that.
exist?
Yeah, does it really exist? And I'm thinking, I'm like, men are not all of them, but some of them are really like adapting this false sense of reality that we've been kind of pushing out there, like, oh, women can do it by themselves. I'm sorry, but I don't want to do certain things.
I don't.
There's so many
By
things I don't want to do by
myself.
myself.
Oh my God.
There's so many things I have to do by myself because I'm not quite partnered. But things that I would love to do with someone else, I would love to vacation with someone else.
Somebody
But
said,
I
look,
will go on vacation by myself.
somebody don't mind they man sitting on the passenger side and they driving. That's not my testimony. I want you to be able to assert, lead, and still respect me in my position as your woman. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's not what we're saying right now. Somebody said a half a loaf is better than no loaf at all.
Who said that?
I died
Takes up
inside.
space.
I died. And what if it's molded?
I was thinking.
How about if it's stale bread? How about you give me half a loaf of a stale, some stale bread? Do I really have half a loaf, or do I have a bag with trash in it that needs to be discarded? You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I'm sorry. I just
Definitely
went.
molded bread is trash, period. And a lot of you people, no, Jesus, a lot of people got mold.
Yeah.
And this is why they need soul care. But that's another podcast.
You know what?
A lot of people are in unauthorized relationships, marriages, relations. Yeah,
Authorized.
unauthorized.
Say that again.
Unauthorized.
It
They
just
are
tingled when it came out.
unauthorized. Some people have somebody. It was so funny. God rest my grandmother's soul. I remember when someone got married, and it was someone close in to my grandmother's age, and the person, unfortunately, I'm not mimicking his condition, but I said, "Oh, grandma, so and so got married." She was like, "Yeah." She married something half dead. And so many people are marrying someone half dead, and I'm not talking about physically dead. You have someone who's barely holding on, someone who could barely hold a conversation, someone who's barely there, someone who barely cares, but you got a man. How about this? Let me take it a step further. But you got someone to post on social media. How about this? You got someone to buy you a gift on Valentine's Day, a commercialized holiday, right? You have all of that, but you're lonely. Now, this is the mean part of me that's going to come out. Not a mean part. This is the part that God is no. This is the part that God is still working on me with.
Kara, don't make me sweat.
I'm not going to say anything mean. I'm not going to be disrespectful. But I do have a problem when people are married and then there's a problem. Just the issue. They're having a bad day, or they need some sound device. They call me, and you married. Where's your husband? You call me. Where's your wife? Where's your husband? Where's your wife? My heart. Now, this is something that God has to work on with me. Perhaps maybe I'm not being sensitive, but it's like, you married this person. You picked this person. do they still, I know they got breath in their body. I just seen them post something on social media. Just saw them down the street. What you calling me for? You know, when you can't, and this is the point, we have to be able to say, you know what, I have not met the right person just yet. I trust God. I trust God to bring me the male version of me.
Right.
And I'm so
I trust
happy.
God to bring me a better version. Because Lord,
better
if you're
version, yeah.
listening,
You're so silly.
I don't need a male version of me. I need something better. I need something that's strong in the areas where I'm weak. I need something that's patient, that's in areas that I'm impatient. I need someone almost, not quite, but like the opposite of me.
Thank
Like
you,
I need
Jesus.
a complimentary thing. Don't be me. Don't come over here being me.
like that.
Come over here being you, the you God made you to be. But I feel you on that.
Yeah.
I need something of quality. That's
Yes.
what you mean.
Yeah,
And I
there you
hear
go.
that.
Yeah,
Yes.
I want my bone to bone, flesh to flesh.
No,
Okay.
and what you're saying is spot on. It's spot on because I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, there are so many ways we can go with this.
There's so many unauthorized marriages,
In
and
relationships.
oh my gosh,
Got me somebody.
it's so crazy because I hadn't thought about that, but like there was a season where there were a lot of men of God confiding in me about their marriage.
Wow.
And I asked the Lord, like, is this a cruel joke? Like, what's happening
What he
here?
say? What God say?
Nothing. He just
It was a little
he
quiet.
literally, as a matter of fact, in that season, I got called to minister at a men's conference.
Oh, wow.
Which was I had never done before, and I was thinking to myself, why is this happening?
Right.
And he said, they brought in a few women to minister to the men. And in that time, the Lord gave me a word to minister for the single women in the audience, in the congregation, concerning the men that they were connected to. And that if men are not married, what they should be in covenant with is wisdom. And
That's good.
and if you are a single woman and there are men, married or unmarried, that seek your counsel, seek your advice, it's our responsibility to be what God would be in the moment, which is wisdom.
Right.
And if we don't have godly counsel, there's nothing to say.
Right.
Right. And it is
Right.
our responsibility
word.
to stand as a representation of wisdom. And a lot of times single women get caught off guard because sometimes marriages have seasons. Help me, Holy Ghost. Marriages have seasons. Right? It's not always you at the top of the roller coaster. Sometimes you're going down.
Right. You gotta
Right.
take that dip.
And you have to take
That's
that
right.
dip and
That's
know
right.
and trust and believe that there's going to be an elevation to come soon after
Right.
this, right? And you
Right.
have to stay in it. And so sometimes people need help staying in it.
Right.
A lot of people will
Right.
show up to your wedding and be like, yeah, we stand with you, but you can't find them when you're in a rough patch.
Come
Correct.
on.
You can't
Correct.
find nobody to help you stay in it.
Correct.
You can't find nobody to help you exercise a little more patience or speak to the hardship of long suffering, but encourage you in your long suffering. There's no one. A lot of people, and y'all, help Jesus. I be amazed at how many people people we having standing up with them. You got 16 friends, huh?
Right.
On each of y'all side, but y'all can't figure out how to stay married.
Right.
Ooh.
Right. So, and that is a
It's
whole
32 people who stood here and made this covenant with you,
Aaron. That
That's
is
a
a
point.
whole nother ball.
and they can't pray you through.
No, look.
Wow.
And this is truth. And what I'm seeing now, like, you know, and I listen to people, you know, talk about their marriages and such, and a lot of people have advice for relationships or whatever, and they will tell you something to do in your relationship, in your marriage or whatever, and they themselves are not following what they told you to do.
Right.
And they're watching you shipwreck your situation because they are allowing dysfunction in their own situation and they feel like they got a better hand at telling you what to do instead of following their own advice.
Sure.
You know, and I think about just going back to what you said a few minutes ago, you were talking about the roller coaster, right? And you know how like once you get on that ride, right? There's some dips and turns. You can't get off. They lock you in those seats.
Absolutely, which is why I'm not married yet.
Right. The only way
Locked in.
we're not going into that part of the conversation.
No, you have to be willing to get locked in. That's all I'm
Yes.
saying.
Yeah.
You got to be willing to get locked in.
it's
When
true.
you get on that
It's
roller
true.
coaster, and once that thing comes
It's
down,
true.
you're not getting off until the
true.
ride is over.
Unless you weren't strapped in correctly when you started
And
off.
then you're in danger,
Correct.
right? You're going to fly out.
Correct. If
Right.
you are not put in that seat correctly at the start, you are not going to make it through those hills, those
And
dips.
what does that
whatever
look
else.
like? It looks like proper
Correct.
counseling. It looks like honesty. It looks like transparency. It looks like proper soul healing,
Right.
proper soul sharing, right?
Definitely
In
saturated
order to
with the
get
word. Definitely.
saturated with the word, saturated
Definitely.
in prayer, and really the revelation of the Holy Spirit,
Right.
Amen.
Right.
right?
Amen.
Because the Holy Spirit will show the things that are hidden.
Correct.
And we have to seek and listen and submit ourselves. We can't be so excited.
Right. Because I don't want to be the one on the roller coaster and everybody else strapped in and I'm hanging on the bars talking about help me up. Like I don't
Because
want
also your partner can't help you at that
that.
point.
Correct.
Right?
You
If they're
stuck.
fully strapped in correctly,
You stuck.
you can't reach low or reach. Have you been in a roller coaster as of late? You're stuck. That wind, the way the wind is hitting your life.
Yep.
That's funny.
Yep. It's true. I mean, it's
crazy.
it's a crazy analogy,
I
but
mean,
it's
it
so
is a little wild, but
it's valid.
Yeah.
Right? It's like you can see, and anybody who has been in a relationship or marriage or whatever, you can see when certain things are going awry. And then there are times where you want to help, but you can't. You can't. And I know we're getting off of what we really, were initially talking about, which is the pressure of all of this. But this also speaks to
But
the
this is why I
volume
don't
of
feel pressured. Right? This is why it's nothing you
Right.
or anyone else can
Right.
say
Right.
to make me feel
Right.
pressured.
Right.
Because when you take the rose-colored glasses off of covenant,
Right.
you find that first of all, it's a blood covenant, right?
Correct.
That means you're
Correct.
going to get cut. At some point in the process,
Yep.
there's cutting. Whether it's not like you cut me or I cut you or God cuts us,
Right.
so that we become in that oneness, right? Because
Right.
two can't become one if you got all the stuff
That's
you came
right.
in. You're going to have to cut
You
it
gotta
down.
let
You're going to have
some
to
stuff
trim
go.
it down. You're going to have to lose some weight in the realm of your emotions or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
right? You can't make me feel pressured
Right.
because I'm not ignorant
Right.
to what this is.
Right.
I'm not confused about the depths of covenant.
Right.
Right? I'm not confused that you cannot just walk out the door when you get a Charlie horse in your
Right.
relationship.
Right. Right.
Right?
But
You know when you
that-
get a Charlie
that seems to
horse that
be-
hurts.
But but that seems to be the going rate. I mean, I could count. Oh my God! I have had so many instances where I have heard of people who are in relationships, whether it be recent, long term, or whatever. Those people that come and they'll be like, at any given moment they're out. Like any conversation, any disagreement, I ain't got a reason to stay. I'm leaving. I'm done with this situation. I'm finished with it.
And that's your right if you are a girlfriend or a boyfriend.
Right. But when you're married,
It's not your right as a wife or a
correct.
husband.
And I'm guilty. I ain't gonna sit here at this table and lie. I have said it, but then I have to circle back too. Because there are reasons when, again, we go back to our roller coaster situation, right? If you are not strapped in correctly from the start,
Absolutely.
when you get on that ride, you've been on a roller coaster, right? And you sat next to somebody and said, I want to get off this ride. I don't want to be up here no more. I don't want to be up here no more. Because you weren't prepared
Yes.
for the height of this. You weren't prepared.
Unauthorized. Did you meet the height requirement? Did you meet the maturity requirements?
Right.
Did you meet the soul care healing requirement? Did you meet the self-awareness requirements to even get on this ride?
Right.
Do you even know yourself enough to become one with somebody? You don't even know what you combining.
It's like I'm still trying to figure it out. I don't know if I'm a tea bag or a spoon.
I don't know what's going on, and I don't know my function in this world.
Right. Am I hot? Cold.
It's very hard. It's very hard to become one.
Yeah.
If you're not sure about your function.
Correct.
That's good.
In this world.
Right.
That's good.
That's true.
You've got to figure out who you are.
That's true.
Because the likelihood that someone will have the patience with you to figure it out with you, it should be that that's the case, but it's not likely. So if you are in a space of singlehood, use the time wisely.
Mm-hmm.
Use it wisely and stop allowing people to put these weights of, time, expectation, and future on you. Let God show you who you are and why you're here.
Right.
So that when you come to the table, you can say, listen, this is what I got to do for God.
Right.
Are you good with that?
Right.
This is who I am in God. Are you cool with that? Right. So you can at least have something.
Yeah.
Sometimes a friend said this to me years ago. He said, appreciate the process. Right. And sometimes we rush toward the end goal, right? And we lose the opportunity to grow, like almost in a sense, like what you said. But it's just like there are benefits of being single. Like, you can travel. Your money is your own. You can take the risk.
Say it again.
Like, and it's or just spend time in God's presence, whatever the case may be.
Your money is your own. Your time is your own.
Your body is your own.
Say a word.
Like, because
here.
like we forget when you're married. Like, if
have
your husband wants to have sex,
you have
and if
to.
Listen.
Period. You have to.
I mean, listen. You got
buddy.
Listen. I mean, so it's a lot. Like, I mean,
and I appreciate my ownership. I mean,
what do you mean now, or when you get married?
Right now, I appreciate. I mean, because I'm not like the average church person. I'm not your average pastor elect. I'm not your average prophet. I'm outside.
Woman of God.
No. What I'm saying is,
because they're gonna be like, "Oh, she outside, so am I."
No.
Back it up.
What I'm saying is, like, Rizzy might call me at midnight.
Yeah.
Girl, what you doing? Oh, I'm outside. Girl, what? Yeah. What are you doing? Oh, nothing. I'm just chilling with God outside.
I know that's right. That's right.
And I have the right to do that.
Right.
Because I don't have a husband that's jealous for me. Talking about, baby, where you at, right? Because no real man, no solid man wants his wife outside after dark.
Correct.
Right, but that's going to have to be something I work through because that is my time with God in nature after dark.
Right.
I hang outside with God midnight to 3 a.m. I'm covering those hours in prayer. I'm listening, right? My husband ain't going to be with that. Girl, what?
Let's talk about that because I think
he's going to have to give me a backyard because I still going to need the trees and the grass under my feet.
But wait, because I saw something very interesting on Facebook, right? And it was basically like if you are with somebody in ministry and they are, let's say, using what you just said right now, they're outside, you're supposed to accept that because that person is never going to change. That's what they said. I'm paraphrasing, but that was
This is why vulnerability and honesty is what helps you strapped in, right? Because if I pretend, because now a man of God is in my life, and I pretend to be at home at 10 p.m. every night, I'm a liar.
Correct.
And I'm presenting something that is not accurate.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
I can't show you the thing, and I think a lot of women of God feel pressured, back to pressure, to show men of God perfection and what we think they want to see or have.
I mean, even take that a step further. Because I think that, and maybe this is just, I'll speak for me, right? There was a time where I thought that, being the prayer warrior, active in ministry, faithful to God, faithful to the, my local church or whatever, like that qualified me as a wife. That made me more presentable as a wife, right? But in learning, right, in growing, I realized that there is more to it than just that. And in that season of my life, I only attracted people who are attracted to the anointing and not charisma.
Come on.
You get what I'm saying? I'm sorry.
Yes.
But did I say that?
You did. It resonated.
I
It hit.
attracted people, attracted men. I have to clarify that because
For sure.
yeah.
Because everybody on this platform, on this podcast, we're interested in men. That's our.
I'm so sorry, Pastor, but strictly dickly. I had to say it like that. But I'm just being honest. This is the booth. This is the booth.
You can say it, yeah.
This is the booth.
How about this? Strictly biblically.
Strictly biblically. I love that.
That's that dickly part out. Just take dickly out. Put
Strictly
biblically.
Yes, that's appropriate. I love that. I love that for us.
It's,
Strictly biblically. That part. Don't ever get that part confused.
But I mean,
okay?
I just have to hone in on that. I have to hone in on that because, there is somebody out there who believes that you being in church, you dressing a certain way, you looking a certain way, automatically means that you're going to get, I'm going to tell you what you're going to get. And no disrespect to the church men out there. I don't have anything against them. I love y'all, men of God. I absolutely do. But I do think that there's a problem that we have, in the body of Christ. And I'm not going to lean too heavy into that because I don't want to get into the, the nooks and crannies and, offend anybody. But we have a problem because if you have a woman, right, who is showing you all of these things that you want to see, right, they're attracting you because she's presenting a measure of herself that looks like what you want. When you guys get into a relationship, it's chaotic. One, because the woman wasn't truthful about who she was. That's the first thing. And I'm speaking from experience.
Or because you only observed me in one
facet.
location,
Correct.
in one area, in one part of my life.
Correct. But once you get into all of that, then you have a man who's coming, who's attracted to something that is presentation only. They only want the trophy of what you're presenting. That ability to share and to say, yeah, this is so-and-so. And we all know that. Within Christendom, we do have men who marry women because they are trophy wives. They are.
My idea of a trophy is completely different than what you're describing right now. But this is a very interesting point, right? Because I guess people, help Jesus, help me do it right. Because there are some men who are anointed.
Correct.
And they want, quote unquote, the trophy wife.
Correct.
But that's different, right? It looks like the perfect body type, the perfect skin type, the perfect hair grade, and like maybe she could sing a little.
Okay.
Right? That's a trophy wife. But then what you're saying, I find even more dangerous, which I've never run into this, but I hear totally what you're saying is maybe you're not that anointed, but if I find an anointed wife, I can do all my ministry goals. Actually, I have seen this before, the blood of Jesus. See? I can do all my ministry goals if I pick an anointed wife, and that becomes a different kind of trophy because your oil is not as attractive as the one you seek out. And so if my girl already is an itinerant preacher, if she already has, preaching up and down a certain coast, right? If she has range, then I will bag her. I will make her mine to expand my ministry reach,
right? And
to draw those to my ministry because she will submit to me if I already have something going. And that is demonic.
Correct.
That's demonic.
100%.
That is demonic, and we rebuke 100%. That in the name of Jesus.
100%. I mean, but that goes. It can go both ways, though. I mean, I don't want it to just be,
it's demonic either way.
Yeah, I mean, but you have women who seek out pastors, and they're vindictive in how they do things. They present one way, then they get home. I mean, it's. I've heard some horror stories. I mean, to say the least. So I mean, I know that it can go both ways, but I mean, I think the whole point of it is. We have to get to a place, or people, I'll say people, I can say we, because I'll include myself. I don't want to discredit anybody or make anybody feel bad. But we all have to get to a place where, like you said before, you're comfortable with who you are. You present who you are. And then if that person is not accepting of it, you're
Let it go.
okay with it.
It's fine.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's okay to let certain things go. And you can't be so caught in the imagery that you choose suffering over appearance. You know what I'm saying? Or you choose suffering for the sake of appearance.
For the sake of.
For the sake of.
Yeah. Because in real life, a lifelong partner, I'm going to close my eyes as I say this. A lifelong partner, to be with someone forever, there are so many things involved with that.
Right.
Right? There has to be a certain level of attraction. Mm-hmm. So for those people who are literally marrying people or engaging in relationships with people that you're not actually truly attracted to, a marriage will never work.
Correct.
You cannot date someone you don't think is cute.
I don't know about that.
It can grow on you.
It can grow on you, but like you have to, like you can't be like, oh, you know what, like that's disgusting, but he can preach, so I'm gonna, like, girl, what?
Honey,
you never dated somebody who was unattractive, then you got to know them, like, oh my goodness, like I like your odd. Well, let me not. I'm not saying
Yes,
anything.
no, yes. I have.
Kara's like,
I have entertained someone who I didn't find to be like the most attractive, but also the thing for me as a person, I'm really not into looks. Like looks don't make me fall
tell you
for a
something,
person.
I just don't want to roll over and be scared. Okay, don't.
That's
don't.
a different thing.
be-
I mean, I need you to have all your teeth in your mouth. I need you. You know what I'm saying? There's some basic.
Hey, now, a lot of people in our generation are losing their teeth.
That's
They
true.
are.
They got luxury cars but no dental plan.
That's correct.
And
That's
I
correct.
think no, seriously, and dental
Or
insurance is
preaching
not
with
even that.
no formal education. I mean, I'm sorry.
Oh, Jesus.
Hold
Listen,
up now.
that was a shot.
I ain't
I'm
go to
dead.
seminary.
I'm sorry.
God.
No, I'm not talking about seminary.
Father.
I'm talking
No,
about
she said formal
education.
Oh, in general.
Yes, formal education. Like no college.
no high school. Some of them.
Yeah, I can't.
Y'all better stop. 'Cause I know some anointed people that didn't go to college.
We're not talking about anointing.
about high
We're
school?
talking about life partnership.
about-
We're talking about what you can build a life with, who you can build a life with, and that's different for everyone.
Yeah.
Right? But all I'm saying is like if you are engaging with someone because you think it's going to increase your status in the world, that is the wrong way to pick a partner.
Correct.
It's very difficult to maintain. It's not sustainable.
Yeah, it's not. And it goes back to what we were saying in the beginning. Like, the whole basis of the conversation was, pressure of dating, pressure, to date, pressure of dating, pressure to date. But the truth is, like you said, there is no pressure if I'm certain about what I want and I don't choose to settle. I don't choose to go back and forth with you about when that's going to happen, because the Bible even tells us he that finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord. It's not my job to go and
search
seek
for him.
nobody out. Like, why am I, truthfully, as a woman, I should be so nestled in God that when he does come, he has found me where I will always be, which is with my Father. You have to take me from him. We do that naturally. We
That's
do that
so
in
good.
a natural
That's the
sense.
way.
That's so good. But what do we say about a question? I'm sorry, I have a question.
Okay.
Because we say that all the time and it sounds so good and so churchy. But like, then on the other hand, people say, well, you got to go outside. Are they going to come in your church? Is every man going to come in your church? Don't you got to go outside at some point? How you going to find a man if you stay in church 7 days a week, 24 hours a day?
Child, please. Because if you go to the bar and you find a man in the bar and you don't drink, what you think you coming home with? You gonna come home with somebody that's, sorry, they may not be an alcoholic, but if you don't drink, if that's not something that you do,
I agree.
why
don't
am I
disagree with that.
going to somewhere that I would never be to find something?
Well, I've
to
been
bring
in a lot
home?
of churches and I found things there. I've observed things there that don't quite add up with my personal standards or values. And so
My
the
life has ended.
argument, The
weak.
argument that if I go to the bar, I'm going to find what lives
weak.
at the bar.
I'm weak.
For some of us, we're terrified that if we go to the church, we're going to find what lives at the church.
Yeah, you said you're not.
I'm not going with you there.
You're not.
I'm just scared. I've seen a lot of things in a lot of places. I mean, I've been in places. Help God. I've been in places. You know, I want to say this. In the last decade, I've been to 2 services that had just like a plethora of men, right?
Okay.
And I was just like, does this exist? Like,
But do they date women?
wow. One,
Why you tapping like that?
because that's the question that needs answering, right? That's the question.
Listen, the church. Go ahead.
The church, listen,
The church is for the people that
for all people.
all people,
Period.
everybody. So I'm not knocking anybody.
No,
whatever.
come get
But
Jesus.
to the point, exactly.
Always come get
do
Jesus.
Are they looking for a wife?
Questions that need answers. So the one place I went in New Jersey, because that's where we live. It's
Right.
not right to tell the people where we live.
Don't say
we
the
live in a
church.
state of New Jersey, and I went to a place
Because I think I know what
in
church
the
you're talking
state
about.
of New Jersey
Oh, God.
for something I was invited to. So I didn't just like randomly pop in somewhere. I'm going to go ahead and say it was maybe 40 men in this service.
Wow.
And I'm going to go ahead and say couldn't find one that even appeared to possibly want to possibly be married to a woman. That's dangerous. Now, listen, I'm not saying that every church is like that
I knew
because
this was
my
gonna
church
go
ain't like that,
left.
right?
Hello,
But
hello, Jesus.
but what I'm saying is when we say don't go somewhere and find this, that, the third, and the fourth, a lot of people believe, you know, the older generation will say the church is a hospital. So
if I get a man from the church, I'm getting sick people.
I don't know. I'm just saying I have to challenge that thought process of where we go to find whatever or to be found.
Okay.
No, I'm not sure. I don't even have a solid stance on it, so
it's
I'm not
that. I don't want you to
arguing.
think I'm saying that. What I'm saying is this: if you
But if I went to the bar, I wouldn't necessarily be ordered. We all sat at dinner, right, in a place that had a bar. It was a restaurant, but
get
it
what
also
you're saying.
had a bar, and we chose not to drink.
Right.
There may be other
I
people
had
who are.
Cabernet, and I just in case there are any Christians, I'm telling my business. Jesus loves you. The sin is drunkenness, not a glass of Cabernet. His first miracle. I just want to say this for those. Was with wine, but notice this. Can I just say this? And then the Holy Spirit showed me this the other day. God, the first thing that God said was not good was for man to be alone. And the first miracle that Jesus did was at a wedding. That's all I want to say.
okay, so on that note,
Let's just put this disclaimer out here that Kara is Baptist, and if you didn't know,
Baptist people know the word.
yes,
and we be in the
and
world.
You be
Just
in the,
kidding.
oh
I'm
my
sorry,
God,
I'm joking. I have a sense of humor.
We all have a sense of
Let me
humor.
tell you
So
something.
welcome
This
to the
table has-
Drunkenness is
Where
a
that's
sin.
you laugh in the booth
I do not
too.
drink to get drunk. Drunkenness is a sin. I like Cabernet.
but wait. All right.
What I'm
listen.
saying is we all sat at the same table. We all made whatever choices we
I
made,
made
but
a
they were
choice
not
that
the
had
same
Cabernet.
choices.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And therefore, I don't want to necessarily say that just because I'm out at a restaurant that has a bar, that someone there
I
can't.
gotta clean that up though, because I don't want you to go away with that perception. I'm
I'm
not
probably
saying,
not going to.
I mean, but I don't want
Do y'all
anybody
judge
out
me
there
for
to
drinking
have that.
Cabernet?
No, girl. I'm not saying that for the people out there. What I'm saying is this: when you say go out, you have to know what you like and go to the places that you like and things that you're interested in to meet the people that or the person that you want to be
Well, I'm
with.
concerned for my future.
Why?
Because you be in the house.
I do be in a house,
No, you
but I'm
don't.
concerned
Not all the time.
a lot of the time.
Listen, I believe do what God has called
12
you to
a.m.
do.
to 3 a.m. She outside. So we
But not with other folks, not with
but-
other humans.
but, hey.
I be sitting in my car talking to Jesus.
Would you be Jesus?
I be sitting in my car talking
Thank
to Jesus
you,
because you know what? There's some, my house situation is different. And now there are babies that live upstairs above me. So I can't just be walking the floors and crying out. in the middle of the night. But those are my hours to do all the super churchy things I do. I know people probably are walking away from this podcast thinking this girl don't do Jesus at all. But actually, it's between 12 and 3 when I actually super do Jesus, and I don't want to be disrespectful.
That was nice of you.
It's a little. I mean, little.
Got you.
She just maybe just turned 1. So for even the last year, she has been like, can you imagine a newborn waking a newborn up because you crying and speaking in tongues? That's disrespectful.
No, I got you.
I mean, maybe it ain't, but like I feel bad about it because she's a single mom.
Oh, no, that's a beautiful thing.
So I have like a heart for that. And I'll be outside anyway. I'm gonna go get an iced coffee at about 1 a.m. in general. Y'all pray for me.
We're gonna pray that you get somebody to go get you an iced coffee. Go get an iced coffee with you.
No. I'll probably start making them at home. Honestly, when I get married, y'all heard that?
When? Absolutely.
Something shifted at this table. I think Kara's prayers hit me over there. And they finally got over here. They finally got to this side of the table. Okay. But when I get married, I'm gonna make my iced coffees in the house because that's the respectful thing. I'm gonna submit there.
I got you.
I'm gonna submit there.
Say less. Shoot, we on the wall. Aaron getting married. Oh, glory to God. God done shifted some things around.
I felt it.
But listen, look, we're gonna pick up this conversation again. I know that
we have so much conversation.
Yes,
to have.
we do. It is always good to have it too, because if somebody need to hear what you got to say.
Yes.
I mean, I don't care.
Even if we just need to flush it out here.
Yeah, let's just flush.
I feel like I've received value from what everyone has said.
Yeah, what we share. But most definitely. So I'm going to tell you all that are out there that may be listening. Listen, go onto YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, Apple Podcast, the podcast. Is that right? Did I say
just
that?
Apple? You can get it. You can download it.
I'm stretching it. Ain't it? Apple. Check out Apple. Go on, like, comment, subscribe, share.
Yes.
Hit the notification button. We definitely want you to be a part of these conversations. Yes. I want you to send us messages. Let us know.
Rate the podcast.
Yes. And
rate the podcast.
Rate it.
But be
absolutely.
Nice.
You said be nice.
Just give us a 5.
You can't ask the people to do something. Then tell them how
yes,
to
I
do
can.
it.
Give me all the stars. Just give us all the stars and keep moving. Then tell us what you need us to know in the comments, give us 5 stars. Tell us what you need us to know in the comments, but give us 5 stars.
No, I do not care what you think about my hair.
Oh my God.
It's so beautiful.
I'm joking.
So this is what we're going to do. Thank you guys so much for joining in, and join back in with us for the next podcast. Until we meet again, thank you for joining the Conversations in the Booth.